On this week's show, 5 top tips for buy-to-let landlords to be more profitable.
We meet Piers, who just 10 days after attending the Property Investors Crash Course went on to secure properties and is making £3,000 passive income.
And in the news, Britain's most hated landlord evicts all his tenants. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're here every single Friday at 4 PM. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. So I'm Russell Leeds.
I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Have you had a good week?
Yes, I have. What about yourself?
I've had a very good week. One of the beautiful things about having serviced accommodation properties yourself is that when they are vacant, you can go and stay in them for free.
I know, you went to a property in Oxford.
I did indeed.
In Woodstock.
It's a beautiful property. It's really, really quaint, old-fashioned, which is great when you do have to duck when you walk in every single door.
Do, yeah.
Well, yeah, Alistair doesn't.
I don't.
any sort of man-sized person has to duck when they go in any door. It is really low. It's also it's quite a small cottage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very, very.
So
small.
you've got your living room downstairs, which you've geniusly managed to get like a dining table.
You can't use the dining table if you know it.
You can't sit at it. You can look at it.
You could sit at two of them, but you couldn't sit in another two because of the way they're located.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I managed to sit in one of them actually that you can't. I had to there's like a pillar
Oh,
randomly.
yeah.
I don't know why. It's got a pillar in the lounge.
That's holding,
just to mess you up. Just holding it up.
That's holding the roof up.
And I had to sort of squeeze past the back, burnt myself on the radiator getting through. But I managed to sit down. No, it was good, mate. It was good. It's got the kitchen's nice.
Yeah.
So you downstairs, you've got like a living room, you got a kitchen, and then upstairs you've got 2 bedrooms, and then there's an attic room at the top. Yeah. But what I was thinking, because the kitchen's obviously been added on.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
It's been an extension. The bathroom upstairs has obviously been added on.
Yeah.
And then the attic conversion obviously used to be an attic. So I'm like, before they changed this house, it was like tiny. It had a lounge downstairs, not even a hallway. You could straight into the lounge.
Yeah.
Then upstairs you had 2 rooms.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a 3-room house.
Yeah.
It's how did anyone ever live in it? Because Anna was like, well, surely they had a bathroom. I'm like, no. See that little shed at the bottom of the garden?
Yeah, well, in the days...
That used to be the bathroom.
But in the 60s and 70s, that's where they were, weren't they? Normally toilets were outside. They weren't always inside.
Oh, I don't remember those days.
Yeah, well...
You tell what was it like?
I don't know, because I'm far too young. But that's what it was like. But what did you think to the stairs? Obviously, the stairs are very, very narrow and very...
Stairs are incredibly narrow. It's like it's like a spiral staircase.
Yeah,
Apart from the fact that it doesn't spiral round, it's just like... It's basically a ladder.
Yeah,
it's basically a ladder that curves. Yeah. I used my hands as I was climbing up. And I used the word climbing literally.
Yeah.
So if you want to challenge,
you should come along. But like, how would they get anything up there? Like beds, mattresses. It'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
I reckon it would be easy to take the roof off, get a helicopter to fly in, drop the stuff down.
It probably would.
Then try and get it up those stairs.
Yeah, it would. But
who did Max sort out the furniture there?
Yes, Max done all the furniture.
Fair play to him.
Yeah.
I reckon he had to sort of the flat pack bed. Yeah. I reckon he had to saw up the pieces
to get them upstairs
and then nail them back together again when he got up there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Funny that I was there yesterday just fixing the bed. Did you break the bed when you were there?
No.
Somebody did, but not obviously. It was broken before you guys went there. But I had to go over there and just fix the bed quickly. So
I just put the mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
For the kids, obviously. I'm like, right, Sienna.
Yeah.
Mattress on the floor.
It's like camping, so I'm sure they enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. To be fair, I mean, we laughed, but it was great, and it's right near Bicester Village. So we went to Bicester Village, which if you haven't been and you live anywhere near,
I did notice you're dolled up today.
I'm not dolled up. I'm dolled down.
Oh, okay.
I'm very casual today.
Yeah, but it's like you've swallowed Ralph Lauren.
Do you know it's Ralph Lauren?
Or whatever.
Do you know?
Is it Ralph Lauren or
it's Ralph Lauren? Ralph Lauren is when someone who doesn't know anything about anything reads it and goes, well, it's an expensive brand, so it must be French. Let's call it Ralph Lauren.
Okay. Well, it's like Ralph Lauren sort of threw up in you, to be honest. It's like everything you've got on Ralph Lauren.
It's not Ralph Lauren. It's Ralph Lauren.
Lauren.
It's an American brand. It's
Is
Ralph
it?
Lauren. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Shows what I know. I just buy clothes. But...
Yeah. Although he changed his name to Ralph Lauren. He's actually Jewish.
Okay.
I can't remember what his name used to be. So someone will know. Let us know what did Ralph Lauren's name, or in his, as Astaire would say, in his French accent for some reason. Scottish the rest of the time, except for when he says Ralph Lauren, turns French. Yeah, no, it's just Ralph Lauren.
I actually thought he was French, but never mind. Okay, so that's cool. So that's good. So yeah, it's pretty good. Glad you had a good week. You also went to Natural History Museum.
I did.
Was that good?
I hate museums.
But did you like that one?
But yeah, I did.
I don't know. Is it the same? Is it the same sort of company that run that as opposed to like the one in London? Because in the one in London, they've got like a massive whale hanging from the ceiling as you go in.
Yeah, they've got all that sort of stuff like T-Rexes and pigs, skeletons. Because you all want to see a pig skeleton. That's the first thing. The first thing I went to see was the pig skeleton.
Natural History Museum. You want to see a pig? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Lots of birds and stuff like that. It was, to be fair, the kids, we were there about an hour and a half, and the kids absolutely loved it. Cool. And we only left because we were hungry. Okay. So yeah, it was good. Really good. I'd highly recommend that as well. I'd highly recommend Oxford in general is a beautiful city. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah, I really like it. Really like it. And then Bicester, obviously. Yeah, it's brilliant. Go to Oxford. Go and stay in our cottage. Yep. Where can they book? Nick will put a link. Nick, can you put a link? Is that all right? Yeah. And go and stay in our cottage because it is amazing. Right. Lovely, yeah. So, getting right into it, we're going to be looking at now the 5 top tips for any buy-to-let landlord, which hopefully, if you're watching this, you either are or you're aspiring to be a buy-to-let landlord to become a lot more profitable. So, guys, this is gold dust. These are the 5 top tips. Hey, how you doing? My name's Samuel Leeds and I'm a property investor. And in this video, I wanted to give you my 5 top tips for being a profitable buy-to-let property investor. So tip number 1 is when you're buying a property and you're buying it to hold on to it and rent it out, I would always say try and find ways that you can add value to the property. So for example, if the outside looks a bit shabby, it might only cost £500 to paint the outside, but it might add £2,000 worth of value to the house. So for every £1 that you spend, you want to be getting £3 back, or lifting the property £3 in value. So that's tip number 1. How can you add value to your buy-to-let property? Tip number 2 is to run a successful, profitable buy-to-let property company is to find the tenants yourself. I know I'm a very systemized kind of person. I speak a lot about systemization on my other YouTube videos. Letting agents often charge a lot of money to find a tenant, to vet the tenant, to move the tenant in. You can be talking hundreds and hundreds, sometimes even thousands of pounds, depending on the property. So what I would recommend, a little trick for you guys, is go to a website called openrent.co.uk and you can list properties yourself on OpenRent very inexpensively. Now when you do that, the property will be then featured on rightmove.co.uk through OpenRent, which is going to give it masses and massive of exposure. Not only that, but when you have a letting agent advertising your property, they're getting inundated every day from all kinds of requests from tenants trying to view properties. Whereas you, if you get called about this property that you've put on, you only have one house. So every tenant that calls you, you're going to be trying to sell this house to them. So I think advertising a house yourself through openrent.co.uk, it's certainly going to mean that you're going to save money from paying a letting agent, but it's also going to mean that you can probably get a tenant in better and faster, and you can do all the references, all the checks as a letting agent would do. You can do that through openrent.co.uk. Tip number 3 is find a good tenant. For goodness sake, the only thing that's worse than no tenant is a bad tenant. You do not want bad tenants. So again, if you're using OpenRent and you can vet the tenants yourself, not only on the references and the credit checks, but you can also physically meet them at the property and you can see, do I like this person? Does this person seem to be a good, reasonable, clean human being that I would want living in my property? Or do they seem like they're on the run and they're shabby and they've got 21 cats and 3 dogs? Not that there's anything wrong with cats and dogs, but you'll get a real sense rather than just looking at a piece of paper. Do you like the tenant? Because I tell you something, you want to make sure that you put a good tenant in your house. My properties that on paper are now doing the best, that are giving me the best return on investment, it's always the case. They've got the best tenants. They've had the same tenants in for many, many years. So find good tenants. Tip number 4 is give gifts.
give gifts. What do I mean by that? The agent who found you the house, give them a bottle of wine. Your tenants that are paying you your rent, give them Christmas gifts, send them cards, because a gift, well, it might only cost you 10 or 20 pounds, but believe me, when you're in the property investment game, a gift will go a long way. Buying a £20 bottle of wine for an estate agent that found you a good house might mean that they phone you next week with a property which has got a £20,000 discount on it just because you were thinking of them and they like you. Buying your tenant a Christmas card or some chocolates and saying thank you for being a great tenant could be the difference between them staying in your property for 10 years or 2 years. It could be the difference between when they leave, them leaving the property a bit messy and untidy, or doing viewings for you, making your life really easy for £20. So it's one of the best investments you can make in property, is giving gifts to people that have helped you in your journey as a property investor. Number 5, when you've added value to your property and you've found your own tenants and you've moved them in and they're good tenants and everything's going well, always try and refinance the house. I think don't leave equity sat in properties. Most people say I'm going to pay the mortgage off as fast as possible. That is actually not very smart, because debt shrinks over time. You're best to avoid paying off the mortgage. Let the debt shrink over time, because money shrinks in value as inflation goes up, and then refinance as often as you can, and then use that equity to buy more properties. You've got leverage to make a lot more money. So those are my 5 top tips to how you can be a profitable property investor in the UK buy-to-let market.
Okay, I personally really liked those tips.
Yep.
So, but okay, first one, add value.
Yeah, obviously, always.
It just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
So a classic example I can think of straight away, property that you got in Wolverhampton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very true.
So how much extra did you increase the monthly rent by from adding value?
Okay, this is
The truth. The guy that I got it off.
I'm glad that you said that, otherwise I would have thought it was a lie.
No,
but
no.
now he's clarified it's the truth. We're good. Go on.
Okay, right. Okay, so the guy I got it off.
Is this true now or a lie?
Yes, it's very true.
This is true. Okay.
He was achieving £800 per month,
Right.
and he was very adamant he couldn't get any more. I've gone in there. I've spent about £3,000 on it.
All right.
So basically, I've painted it top to bottom.
Yeah.
Done a little bit of tiling and a little bit of tarting up in the kitchen. New kitchen floor, new bathroom floor, and new carpets throughout. And I'm now getting £1,600 a month.
So
not
this
quite.
is
It's
what
like £1,580.
The reason I got my phone out is because I'm bored of you and I'm texting. No, it's not. I'm going to work this out on the calculator. So £800 a month extra you're getting.
That's what he was getting 800. I'm now getting £1,580 a month.
So you're getting £780 a month more.
Yep.
Which is £9,360 a year.
Yep.
Which means your ROI is like 300%.
Yes, it's a lot.
So your ROI so people often look at the ROI on the property, but if you get the adding value right, the ROI on that is incredible, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
I mean, that is a brilliant example because that's really high. But even if it's just a case of it rents out a month quicker.
Yeah. And that,
do you know what I mean?
What's the average rent? So maybe £600 a month?
By the way, just to clarify, the reason he's getting so much is it's the HMO, isn't it?
It is. It's a HMO property, and but it was a HMO before.
Yeah, but they were doing £200 a room.
They were doing £200 a room,
and you were doing $350 or something.
£350 £390. It varies.
Okay.
Obviously, depending on the rooms. But yeah, if you take an average single let in the UK, what is it? £600, maybe let's just say £600 a month rent.
More.
Okay, more. All right, let's say £700 a month rent. So if you can add value to it and tart the place up, make it look nicer, does it matter? It's an example. It's an example. Okay. So if you can add value to it, make the place a bit nicer, and it rents out a month quicker, that's £700 or £800 or even £1,000.
And if it's £50 a month more, even just as low as that, it's still like £600 a year.
Yep. And it doesn't. I think what happens is when people take on properties, they overestimate everything. So like they'll look at a house and it will need new carpets, it will need paint and decorations, and they think it's a 10 grand refurb, when in fact it's not. You can paint properties, you can carpet properties very reasonably, you'll be amazed at what a bit of fresh paint does and a fresh carpets do to a property.
Yeah, well, I saw a house, and it was a horrible looking house, in a nice area. I drive past it every day on the way to taking Sierra to school.
Okay.
And it was up for sale for ages, and it obviously never sold. And then they cladded the whole outside, and it made it look like a completely different house. And suddenly, what have you noticed on the board now? Sold.
Sold, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know how much that would cost. I've got no idea because I'm not very into that. But how much it cost to clad a house?
I don't know, a couple of grand perhaps.
But when you're selling a house, if it looks nice,
Yeah.
it's worth a lot more than a couple of grand, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you know what I mean? So, totally agree with adding value.
That's what Samuel talked about, painting. Like he mentioned painting the outside of a house.
And you got to look at it. It is an investment.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
I think it is an investment. You're investing in the house so that you can sell it for more.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely that. Right,
Cool.
number 2. Controversial one now.
Yeah.
Find the tenants yourself.
This goes against everything Samuel sort of talks about and teaches, which is fine. But
Okay, so I mean, we always talk ourselves about. I like I said, I've got one tenant I found myself.
yeah,
Other than that, I've always used letting agents. In all fairness, it was kind of my own letting agent that did it, so it's a little bit different.
yeah, okay,
So I suppose you could argue that it was finding it yourself, kind of.
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? I think it very much depends on the house.
It depends on if you're full time in property and say you've got 3 or 4 houses. I know lots of property investors that find their own tenants, manage their own tenants, because for them it's their full time job, so they'll do that. It depends how hands off you want to be. If you've got, I don't know, 10 houses, 15 houses, is that suddenly that's a full time job for somebody, isn't it?
I think I disagree with this one.
Yeah, I must admit, it goes against everything that we've sort of taught, we're taught and we teach.
I think maybe when you're first starting.
Look, let's look at numbers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what does your average letting agent charge in management fees?
What, 10%?
10, 12%? If it's HMO, maybe 15%. So let's just say 10%. So if you're making on a single, like £600, it's going to cost you £60 a month. For them to find you tenants, but also a lot of letting agents charge you a tenant finder's fee, which can actually be quite expensive.
Yeah.
I remember when my letting agent for Wolverhampton charged me. That was Russell, by the way. I think he charged me £250 per tenant, which is a fair, reasonable amount because that's the industry and the sort of UK average. But yeah,
So what's your point?
but it's expensive. It's expensive.
But would you rather be sitting on spare room, putting your advert up, responding, going and doing the viewings, or would you rather just pay someone 250
No,
quid to
I
do
would rather just pay somebody to do it because I'm too busy to be doing the other stuff, and it means then I've got to learn all about the legalities of the paperwork and all that sort of stuff, and I just don't have time for that because it's not really where I want to be doing. I would rather just get a really good HMO manager.
Having said that, I disagree with him completely.
Okay.
Having said that, the amount of times I have tried to go through letting agents, estate agents, whatever, and they are absolutely useless.
I agree with you.
Like insanely useless. We've got a member of staff moving over. She's starting work with us next month, and I'm sorting her out. Abby's sorting her out somewhere to live.
Are you looking for a room, or are you looking for a whole house?
A whole house. She ain't gonna stay in a room. Apartment, something like that.
Yeah, that's
right. And the letting agents are just pathetic. Like, you ring them up and you're like, can I make a viewing on? And they're like, yep, the person who's dealing with something else, and then they don't call you back. And I'm like, if this was my house, I'd be so angry.
It does seem a very unprofessional sector of the industry.
The one I was looking for is just being reduced. So the landlord's obviously desperate.
Yeah.
I've been trying to arrange a viewing for about 4 days.
Yeah.
And I can't get in touch with them. I've said to them, look, I want to pay the asking price.
So you're not negotiating. You're just, I'll pay what you want. Get me inside it so I can look at it. Yeah.
It's just.
I'd be a bit annoyed if I was a landlord, wouldn't you?
I'd be furious.
The one benefit to finding your own tenants is, Samuel mentioned it in the video, if you've got your advert on spare room, open rent, wherever, and potential tenants phone up, you're only trying to get them to take your room. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they phone up an estate agent or a letting agent, they're going to be they've got lots of rooms to offer them. Yeah. So they might offer them one that is not your room. So you're not going to be priority for them.
But on the other foot now, though, so like the letting agent, because obviously, as you know, I rent where I live, and then I have investment properties, and like if there's ever a problem with any, I just like ring them and they're just on it and sorted straight away. Okay. Now, as a landlord, I would not want that phone call.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
I wouldn't want to be
especially
phoned.
Some of the phone calls that tenants give you, because the they're like really quite pathetic. Some of them, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, especially HMOs.
Very much in HMOs. I mean, I had a few complaints in my HMO, and Quick Move dealt with it because like. I can't tell the first one because it's quite rude, but like Wi-Fi not being fast enough, or somebody.
Was that the one that was moaning about the content blocker?
Yeah.
We get that quite a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So we had somebody complain because we put an adult content blocker on the internet to stop illicit activities, and we got a complaint about that. We also got a complaint because one of the tenants keeps leaving his shoes in the front room. Seriously. They phoned up Quick Move, and they moaned because there's one particular tenant who's got a bike, and so basically he comes in from work at the end of the day, takes his work boots off, and he puts his bike in the front room. And yeah, we had a bit of a complaint about that. But I mean, in fairness to the guy, it's not right. It's not in the middle of the front room, and it's just literally it's against the wall. So
yeah,
you get lots, and I don't want to be taking them calls. So I would always use a management company. But it would save you a little bit of money if you are prepared to do it yourself. But
I would say the best is, I would say that it goes in this order. Your best is a good management company.
Yeah.
The second best is you do it yourself.
Yeah.
And the third best is a bad management company. Because there's nothing worse than a bad management company.
Yeah. I would rather pay a higher percentage to them knowing that they're going to be good.
Yeah.
I'd rather
you don't want the hassle yourself.
For instance, one of my HMO manager up north in Hull, they've just put their rates up to like about 17%. It doesn't bother me because they do a fantastic job, and I don't have no issues. So I don't care paying that little bit more money. Don't care, because they're the best at what they do and they don't mess around.
Do you not make little psyche digs at them when you speak to them?
No.
Oh, just me then.
Just you.
Okay, so what next?
So next, conclusion on that one then. Conclusion is, it kind of depends on your situation.
It depends on you.
I think the best thing is you find a good agent.
Yeah, I do as well. So we're not going to say Samuel was wrong, but we slightly.
I understand what he's saying. And I agree with him in many ways.
Yeah.
Like the one that I do manage myself, I haven't heard from for about 3 years.
Yeah, we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so you'd be paying £60 a month to an agent to do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one then, which is sort of linked to this one, is
make sure you find a good tenant.
Yeah.
Obviously, that if you've got a good management company, they're going to make sure the tenants are good. In theory.
I think you're more likely to screw that up if you do it yourself.
I must admit, I do as well. The only benefit, we lost the mic. The only benefit there, though, if you do find your own tenants, is you're going to physically meet them, and you'll get a feel for them. Like you can form an opinion of somebody very quickly. If
do you think a lot of people though, because they want to fill the room, will be more desperate than a letting agent are just going to be like, no, you didn't fit the profile, don't care.
I think that's better. I think that's much better because
I think it's better the letting agent does it rather than you. If you do it yourself, you're going to really want them to have it.
But no, I would be different to that. If I was showing my tenants around my house, I'd be like, you're not moving into my house. No, I wouldn't let anybody live in there because there would be something wrong with them, because I'll be quite critical. I really would be.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm like a natural salesperson. I'd be wanting to sell the house to them.
Oh no, I'd want to sell it to them, but
you wouldn't. You'd be like criticising them.
No, I would.
Just said it. Didn't you just say that?
I would want to sell it to them, but I'd be very, like, in my back of my head, I'm thinking they're not going to pay my rent. They're going to mess me about for rent. So I'd be possibly a little bit overcritical on that side of things.
So backtracked, hasn't he?
So what?
Could he have backtracked any more?
No.
I just don't think I'd be the best person to show somebody around my house, especially if you've spent money on it and they're perhaps not the tidiest, or they're a bit scruffy or whatever. You think they're not going to look after your property. It's like I've had a tenant just move out of my property around the corner, and the letting agent's gone there this morning to do an assessment on the room to make sure she's not sort of left it in a bit of a bad way, because we have a new tenant moving in on Monday, so we've got like 3 or 4 days to get that sorted out if she's left it in a bit of a state. So I'm sort of praying that she's not left it in a bit of a state.
The other thing is about going back to finding the tenant yourself, finding a good tenant. Finding a good tenant is that you might not be very good at that.
Yeah,
you might not be your skill. I think for that I've gone off it even more now. But now hearing this, find a good tenant, I'm well for using the agent.
Yeah, I must admit. I am as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
or get
so-
Samuel to do it for me if he's so keen on doing it.
Yeah, we can all just give Samuel our properties. Let him sort it out. Okay, so the next one, which all ties into this again, giving gifts.
Yep.
So,
Do you want me to tell you a story?
yeah, go on.
All right. First house I ever lived in
Yeah.
was in Brown Hills. And
Is that Birmingham?
no, it's Walsall, really.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a great area, to be
Okay.
honest. And it was an apartment, and obviously I didn't know the landlord. I'd gone through a letting agent and stuff
Okay.
like that. Good Childs, actually. And he dropped me off a hamper for Christmas,
Oh, cool.
and it really made me think, wow, what a nice guy, what a
caring
legend.
guy, yeah.
And I actually genuinely did stay in the house longer than I wanted to, because I thought, but I've got a great landlord here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did move out. I stayed there just over a year, so I wasn't there long, but only because I had a really good opportunity to move somewhere else.
Okay.
But I really did think about it, because I thought, I've got such a great landlord where I am, and all he did was buy me a Christmas hamper and drop it off at the house, and it really, really went a long way.
Yeah.
So I remember telling Samuel this, and then when I became a landlord, I said I'd do the same thing. And for
Cool.
the first couple of years, I did, and I've just sort of stopped doing it now. It
Yeah.
gets to a
Do
point
you
where...
know what I think it brings? It brings the personal touch, because if you've got a management company in place, it's very rare that the tenant will ever actually know who the landlord is, apart from a name on an ASD contract. So I think it makes it that personal touch that actually the landlord is a real person. They do care about me, and that they're not just after the rental income. They're wanting to provide a lovely family home. So I think if you can give them just a little gift at Christmas, just say, look, thanks for keeping up with your rent, thanks for not messing us about, and thanks for looking after our property. I think it goes a long way.
I do. It made me think maybe I should start doing it again, especially as I don't have to do it now. I can
Yeah.
get Abby to do it. Because back then, I used to have to go and drive it up to their house.
Oh, okay, so you get poor Abby getting her running around all the houses. But also, like, I do...
And
like-
he's right, though. Say, 20 quid
Yeah, it's
goes,
nothing, is it?
goes a long way, doesn't it?
No, it's nothing. But it's like I've got quite a lot of estate agents that I work with quite closely, and I often give them like just if they've really helped me out and they've brought me a really good deal to the table, I'll just buy them a bottle of wine or something like that, a bottle of prosecco or something like that. It goes, yeah.
It's just showing a general appreciation, isn't
Because
it?
you can't you're just going in there and saying, look, thanks very much, we appreciate your effort.
People
I took
people
one
like
out
to
for
be
dinner.
appreciated.
Yeah,
And if you've done a lot for someone and you show a bit of appreciation, I do think it goes a long way.
yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
Like Alistair bought me he's never actually given me a gift. Forget it. Carry on.
I've given you the gift of my time.
That's the crap.
Have
I
it
get.
back.
I get. They get like prosecco and that. I get his time.
Yeah, you get the charming wit. So anyway, that was like an awkward silence there, wasn't it? Did anyone hear the tumbleweed going? Right. Okay. So number 5 is
Refinanced property, debt shrinks.
yeah, 100%.
It's leverage, isn't it? At the end of the
Leverage. Yeah, use the bank's money instead of your own. And that is an interesting point that Samuel makes about how debt does shrink, because it's true, it does shrink, especially if you pay it
especially as the
off.
value of the house goes up.
Yeah. I know Robert Kiyosaki, when we, some of us on the academy, we went out to meet Robert Kiyosaki last year in South Africa. It was an amazing experience, and he is a big advocate of debt, but good debt, not bad debt. And he's very, very proud of the fact that he owes, I think it was about $350 million in good debt. And he's very proud of that fact. And I remember him laughing at the audience saying, look, he could walk into a bank or a financial institute and literally borrow like $1 million in a 45-minute sort of meeting, whereas most people in the room couldn't borrow $30,000. So
And he was mocking them.
he was sort of, yeah. I remember he sort of, it was funny. It was done in jest, like it wasn't, but it's just funny. So yeah, debt shrinks. Refinance your properties soon as.
But it makes sense, doesn't it, to leverage?
I would.
If you're in a situation where you can use their money to buy properties, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but good debt, bad debt. You have to remember that 100%.
Well, we're talking about buying properties now, not buying.
Yeah, I know, but some
holidays.
people might refinance the properties and you can go on holiday, or refinance the properties and buy a BMW. It's just no.
That's stupid.
It's absolutely
Mercedes,
stupid.
Yes, BMW.
I know.
What are you thinking?
Get a bit of class, guys. Come on, Mercedes, all the way. You got Merc.
You know I have.
Yeah, so far.
Name dropper or what?
Nick, do you know a BMW by any chance? I don't. No, you don't. Okay. That's cool. Anyway,
Nick
refinance.
drives we had the same first car. It's Nick's first car.
What have you got now?
What?
Vauxhall cool.
I was going to guess what do you think was sort of be our first car?
Oh, maybe actually, because you had a few problems with it, and you asked me some advice on it because I used to be a mechanic. But anyway, never mind. Right, so let's get. Huh?
Name dropping again.
I don't go to Vegas, do I? Okay, let's stay on track. I know you do like to waffle, Russell. But anyway, so refinancing and letting your debt shrink.
That's kind of obvious. Yeah, if you can pull your money out of property and reinvest it in something, you'd be, well, some people don't like it. Some people like to not have any debts and stuff like that and not have any mortgages. But if you can make more money if you do that. So
I think ultimately that's the way the majority of people really should be thinking.
Property investors, anyway.
Yeah, property investors.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just a quick shout out. This Monday the 4th of February, we've Alistair hosts an event called PIC, Property Investors Circle. It's a networking event. There's also teaching and stuff going on there as well. I would highly recommend that you get booked on. There's going to be a link below where you can get. How much is it? £20?
It's 20 quid plus
20
that,
quid.
Yeah.
Come along. It's going to be brilliant. Lots of investors are going to be there.
Yep.
And I'm actually speaking at this one, so I've never spoken at PIC before.
No, we've invited you along and we've asked you to do the main session, which is about an hour, and you're going to be revealing your secret system that you've not yet revealed to anybody else, all about sales.
So it doesn't matter what business you have, whether it's property investing, whether it's just getting your own way in life, being able to sell is really, really important. And it's a kind of a bit of a dirty word. Some people don't like sales, don't like selling, but and the reason for that is because most people don't know how to sell, and they do it wrong, and it annoys people, it upsets people. They end up resorting to pressure tactics and things like that. So yeah, on the winner sales system, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys at PIC, if you can come along, I just teach you how to sell properly and how to actually help people rather than trying to pressure them into doing it. How to make it an attractive win-win proposition. Yeah. It's the stuff that I teach all our sales guys that work for us. And
so you actually use this system in the business day to day?
Of course. Yeah.
So guys, get yourself along there Monday evening. You're going to be hearing it directly from the horse's mouth, and trust me, it is not to be missed. So we're going to stick a link in the comments below. Get yourself booked on, and we shall see you there on Monday evening.
See you on Monday. Right. We're now going to hear an interview by a guy... Pierce. We're going to meet Pierce, and Samuel actually sits down with Pierce, interviews him. He's got a pretty cool story.
Yeah, just very, very good story. Like literally 10 days after attending the crash course.
Don't give it away.
Wow.
Don't give it away. We're going to hear it right now.
Tell us about this deal then that you secured. Within how long after the crash course was it when you did?
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
So 10 days after the crash course, you actually secured a deal.
Yeah.
And tell us the figures on that deal.
Well, at the moment that's four apartments in total.
So you secured it was one agent, or was it with a landlord direct?
Direct landlord.
Direct landlord. Well done.
Landlord.
So it was one direct landlord. Yeah. But he had 4 apartments in a block.
4 apartments in a block. Yeah.
And how much money are those 4 apartments now making you?
I would say about £3,000.
So you're making £3,000 from just that one landlord?
Yeah, that block. Yes.
So on average about 4,000, and is the money all
3,000?
Sorry, 3,000.
Yeah.
And is the money all coming in now? Is it all set up?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So
it's incredible. So what's the deal then? How does it work?
So he was a landlord who was trying to sell his block first of all, actually.
Block of 4 apartments.
Yeah, block of 4 apartment with a different estate agent.
Yeah.
Had no luck. Came to me and said, "Piers, can you let them out?" Now, at that time, before that, I didn't know how to, it could take time because letting is, somebody's got to give notice, come and actually take over. So it could take time. And after the crash course, as we learned R2SA on a session that you had, we just went, we could do it.
Yeah.
And that was it. I called him back and said, after the crash course on Monday, I called him and said, can I meet yourself? And he went, yeah. And that was it.
That's
and 10
brilliant.
days later, we signed off the contract.
That is so brilliant. And you know what as well? I don't know if there's any estate agents or letting agents that are going to watch this. But I mean, so many people who are so well positioned in property. Yeah. There might be mortgage brokers or estate agents, letting agents, whatever, builders.
Yeah.
But they are missing out on so much money.
No, they're giving it away.
They are. And they're just the middle people that are just passing the deals to everyone. The builders are building on the properties to make the developers rich.
Yeah.
Everyone's It's just crazy. So I love it. I mean, even when I did my challenge, you know, the FF challenge.
Yeah, correct.
Did you enjoy that, by the way?
Yeah, it was lovely.
It's going crazy, that
Do you
video,
know what,
isn't it?
actually, when you picked the Sheffield, we were in DFE at that time.
Yeah, we were.
And my heart was pumping, and I was like, but we knew you were going to do it.
Yeah,
we just knew it.
I know, but the some of the deals that I found in that week, the estate agents who didn't know who I was have watched the documentary and are now doing deals themselves, like what you've done.
Brilliant.
Because they're thinking, well, I'm in a really good position here, so it's really cool having you as an estate agent, as a property person on the show, because you know some people might watch this and say, oh, he was already an estate agent, so it's easy for him. But you can always find, you've just got to take the cards that you're dealt with, and then just it was
do
just
what you've one got. Of those. I remember you saying sometimes, you know, that session we had in Crash Course about £20 note. Yeah. When you're getting that opportunity, sometimes we don't see it as an opportunity and we let it go. Yeah. And sometimes it's all about the mindset. Yeah. And those 2 days in Crash Course was, we just sat down and went, here you go. This is what we could have done months ago, and we could, you know, but just getting that knowledge about those 2 days and coming and actually doing it was great. And those 4 properties that you've got. Yeah. Just to be really clear for anyone that isn't familiar with rent to rent. Yeah. So you're giving the landlord a guaranteed rent. Yes, we are. And then you're re-letting it out. Yeah. And then you're keeping the profit. So you don't own it, but you're doing this with the correct paperwork, the correct contracts. It's above board, it's legal, and you're making £3 a month. Some months it might be more, some months it might be a little bit less, but on average, after the 4 months, £3 a month, and that's how much time are you having to spend on that? Because we manage it ourselves, I do spend, I'd say, about a day in total of the week doing all the paperwork and management and stuff like that. But just because it's quite close to me, I do that. But if I had to now do it somewhere else and actually systemize it, it would be quite easy to do so as well. Okay, but the thing is, £3,000 a month. For 1 day a week is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty well. How were you doing before that compared to now? What I want to talk about is actually, I don't know if you remember when in our advanced course. The very first month I was actually when I got the R2SA, I still didn't have enough knowledge. And when we had our advanced training, when I sat down, I said, Samuel, I had an opportunity to show you my figures, and you said, Piers, you're not making enough money, and one of your quarterly goal was to actually revisit your essays. Guess what I wasn't doing? I didn't have a channel manager at place. Okay. And you were the one said, go and get this channel manager. Get it sorted, and since then you were doing the work yourself too much, and you didn't have the right team and infrastructure. Correct. So now, after getting the power team in place, it's much more easier using that channel manager now. Straight away we're getting a lot more presence online. Good. Actually, that channel manager has put us top on Google as well. Fantastic. And that's when we started getting real. Fantastic. And presumably you're doing a lot less now as well. We are doing a lot less. Yeah. I think knowledge is really important, but so's network. People think the most important thing is having a lot of money. Actually, no. The most important thing is having a lot of knowledge and having a good network, and then the money will just follow.
So we've just met Piers, who just 10 days after coming to the Crash Course is making £3 a month through rent service accommodation. Piers is a great guy, and do you know what I like more about him is he's giving back. So he comes along to all the events to help newbies get involved in property.
So you like that more about him? What do you like most about him?
What I like most about him is he's just so driven, and he's a really good ethical guy. He's just so driven, and he keeps coming back. He comes back to all the events. He helps newbies. He helps people that are just getting in to help them believe that they can do it, because he was a newbie and he got involved. So yeah.
Awesome.
So that's cool.
Awesome, great story. Well done, Piers. Amazing stuff. It's now time for this.
It's property investing news time.
So this news article is about Britain's most hated landlord. So how did it feel to get that title?
I don't know. I don't have that title. Is that what you were getting at? I was trying to think of something smart to say there. No, I don't know.
I wouldn't go there, Matt. I wouldn't go there. Don't you worry. No, so it's an article about Fergus Wilson. If you know anything about property, you'll know a little bit about.
Is he the guy that said a couple of years ago he wasn't allowing anybody that cooked curries to live in his house?
Pretty much. He worded it more. That's bad. He worded it worse than that. But yeah, he in his words, he said to the letting agent that they weren't allowed coloured people because the smell of curries was too bad to get out of the wallpaper.
And the sofas, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was all over the national media, wasn't it? And he actually started evicting them because
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
It is unbelievable. So yeah, that's him. I think that's kind of what started it.
So why is he in the news now then?
Well, he owns over 900 houses in Kent.
Wow.
And apparently it says he's the poster boy for the worst types of landlord behaviour. So this is what he said. No coloured people because of the curry smell.
Just straightforward like that?
That's it. That's what he said.
Wow.
It was on his notice to them. So basically he is selling up his portfolio of over 900 houses.
Okay.
So like, for example, there's like roads. So what the one it's talking about on here was a road called Grice Close.
Yeah.
And he owns the whole street.
Okay.
So because he's selling, he's just served notice to
The
whole street.
Right.
So everyone in the street is going to move out.
Right. That's pretty not right. Why doesn't he just sell them with tenants? If he's selling up, why not just sell the properties with sitting tenants? Why
Also,
force the families
it's
out?
massive competition for himself, isn't it? Because like, you'd think you'd sell them off slowly, wouldn't you?
The thing, it's going to drop the prices down, surely.
Yeah.
Because if there's suddenly 800 or 900 houses,
900 houses in Kent available,
suddenly
extra.
become on the market, the prices are going to drop.
Yeah.
Because there's too much supply.
Yeah.
And I imagine they're all going to be very similar sort of houses, like maybe 2 or 3 bedroom sort of terrace sort of.
I imagine some of them have got kids and stuff like
sort
that.
of council house type properties. I remember reading an article that he did buy a lot sort of from housing associations and things like that.
Yeah.
So they will be them type of houses, but
he's had a few run-ins. I was reading about him where like like someone had complained about a leak and he didn't do it, and then he sued them and because he sued them because the floor collapsed.
About what? So the his property created a leak.
Yeah.
Through a burst pipe or whatever, and then he sued the tenants because the floor collapsed.
Yeah. He lost. He had to pay them.
Oh, of course he did because it's his property. But unless they left the tap running, which is obviously their fault.
Someone accused him of sexual assault, and they had no evidence in the end. So then he sued them.
He does. I must admit, he doesn't seem like the most ethical of businessmen, does he?
No.
He does seem a little bit on the wrong side of the spectrum.
So, what would you say was a lesson for landlords to learn from other than don't be a dick? Which is the obvious one.
But lessons to be learned, just do it right. Well, you don't need to do it wrong. Why? Like, surely he would have a much better name for himself if he just done it right, and he can still make money. You don't have to be a.
He's
dick
making
to not
$7
make
million
money.
a year.
Yeah, but he would still make that if he was a good ethical landlord, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's still got the houses. He just doesn't have to treat his tenants like they're.
Do you think he's got a bit too big for his boots?
He's got a bit too big for something. You've seen him. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I do think he's got a little bit big too big. I do think he's got a bit too big for his boots, but ultimately he's got a massive business. He's making $7 million a year. He owns 900 houses, so he's done something right. Perhaps he lost his way a little bit after. Maybe he got a bit sick and tired of dealing with tenant complaints and all that sort of stuff.
And he's just got really
really sort of hardcore on them. I don't know. Maybe where did it go wrong, Fergus? Where did it go wrong? Maybe you should come on the podcast and we'll interview you.
I'd love to interview him on the podcast.
Do you know what? He's probably just a normal guy. Like, he's made all this money. Yeah, great. He's got a few complaints, but look, let's face it. He's got 900 houses. You're going to upset some people in them properties, aren't you? Not all of his tenants are going to be pissed off at him.
I mean, we've got like a code of honour, obviously, in our office where we treat other people as you want to be treated. I think maybe he's lost sight of that and lost sight of treating them like. He probably just sees it as a number. And he's not treating them like people, is he?
Mm.
You know. Just
who knows, mate? Who knows? There is a lesson to be learnt there. No matter how big your business gets, you should always still treat people like they're people.
Yeah.
And
they're your customers at the end of the day.
They're your customers.
And they're they've got lives, they've got families, they've got kids.
What does concern me, though, if he's selling all 900 properties and he's evicting the
that's
vast majority...
really selfish, isn't it?
It's really selfish. You're evicting a family that probably have been paying their rent, they've not done anything wrong, and they're getting evicted because you want to cash in and and then make a load of profit, which is fine. I'm not disputing that.
Do you think
but you could sell them with the tenants.
Do you think it will crash the market in Kent?
I think it will have a negative impact on the market in Kent.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think you'll get maximum value out of the properties he's trying to sell. But like I don't care about that because he's obviously made his money. He's made money. I'm not that bothered that he's not going to get maximum value out of the properties he's selling. My concern is these 900 families that he's going to kick out. Where are they going to go? Like, obviously, them houses are now. What's the plan with the houses once he sold them? They're probably going to be re-let to another family, but there's still 900 tenants and 900 families that are now getting evicted for probably no fault of their own.
And they're all going to be looking for a new accommodation.
Exactly.
Rents will probably go up.
Yeah.
Rents will probably go up.
Yeah, exactly. Because
the demand has gone down, but house prices will go down.
Why doesn't he just sell them with tenants in place?
I don't know.
Because then I'm sure there's many investors would happily take a property on that have got tenants in place paying good rent.
I just can't relate to him at all. He just seems crazy.
He
seems crazy.
Anyway, let's not waste too much time on this dude. Let's move on to questions.
Questions. So, what questions have we had this week?
Let me have a quick ganders. We have had quite a few. We've done a Facebook Live just before we started today, and we gave people the opportunity to get their questions in. So let me find some of them. So here we are. We did have a lot. Oh, jeez. Josh Cole, Brexit. How could it affect us as investors?
Brexit. Go and check out episode 3. We cover Brexit in detail.
No more Brexit questions.
Brexit.
Come on, guys. I've been following your pages. We've just answered your question, Josh. So that's cool.
Well, we didn't really answer your question. We fobbed you off, but...
Anyway. Robert Charlton, what's topic for today? You'll have to watch it, my friend. Amana. Good morning to you both. Russell, congrats on the new member of the family yesterday.
Thank you.
My question is...
I forgot that during the week. I went away. I also had a nephew. Carry on.
My question is, I have a couple of deals that I would like to source and raise finance to supplement my rent to SAs. I have a limited company set up, business account opened. What am I missing? So I'm assuming you mean you want to then pass them on to another investor. If that is what you mean, you need to be compliant. So you're partly the way there, but you do need to be compliant. So you have to be part of the property redress scheme. You have to be correctly insured. You have to have terms and conditions in place, risk assessments, policies, training procedures, and sort of good filing systems and things like that in place. So get yourself along to Deal Selling Masterclass, and we will show you how to do it there. Okay, so Samuel Jenkins, can we have the best advice for beginners and people who are skeptical about property? I'm going to allow Russell to answer that question.
Wow, that's such a vague question. Best advice about what, getting started? Well, I would say we'll start at the very, very beginning. Best advice about getting into property is do it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, if you buy property, over the long term, I know we had the question about Brexit, but over the long term, it is going to go up in value. It is an asset that appreciates, which is good. It's also an asset that brings you in, regular cash flow, which is good. So do your research, get to the crash course, watch the videos on YouTube, and just get into it and get started straight away would be my very basic advice.
Yeah, I'll second that, to be honest. When you say people that are skeptical about property, you're listening to like the most skeptical person ever.
Why would you be skeptical about what does that even mean?
What I suspect he means is not so much about property, because property is like a very, very strong foundation for investing.
Property is very safe, isn't it?
Very safe.
I can understand you being skeptical about
maybe
stocks and shares, or being skeptical about Bitcoin, because you can't see it. You can't. Yeah. But property, it's like it's here, it's there. You're buying it.
I'm going to go with you're skeptical the way I was. So I was skeptical about stepping out and doing something that's out your comfort zone. So it's not necessarily property. It's just doing something that's not been in your sort of in your bones since you grew up. Because as we grew up, we're growing up to
then
get a conventional job. Yeah, so
that you do know what you're doing.
Exactly. So that's why I went along to the crash course and I educated, and now it's like second nature to me. So you need to make property like second nature to you. So it's the norm. It's not the wow, let's think about this. It's the norm, and I would do it that way. So look, I get the skepticism side of things. I've written a book about it. Just do it anyway.
You've written a book?
I have written a book. Did you not know that?
I didn't know that.
I haven't got a copy here, but whatever it takes, just do it.
Right, anyway, okay, so how many more questions have we got
Is
time
that
for?
your new tagline? You know Nike have already had that.
What, whatever it takes? Or
Yeah.
just do it? They've got just do it, haven't they? With tick. I ain't worried about that. Right, okay, so we've had that one. Martin.
I hope they have whatever it takes. I hope they change their tagline whatever it takes.
Hey guys, do you take into account the 18 years property cycle when you're investing in certain areas, or are you not really bothered as long as you're planning to hold the property for a long time, let's say 20 plus years? Thank you. So do you take into consideration the 18-year property cycle?
No.
No. Thank you. I'm getting pointed at by the director.
It's because you're not speaking into the
Not
mic.
speaking into the mic. Sorry, is that better? That good? Thumbs up. That means it's good.
Do you know what a pro does when they get told something like
They just-
speaking to the mic? They just do it. They just nod. Yeah, I know what you mean, and they just do it.
Yeah, we're just giving Nick his bit of his sort of fame time. That's all.
It's time to shine. Well,
Hey.
we'll go back to that question again because we don't want to just be.
Okay, do you guys take into account the 18-year property cycle when you are investing in certain areas, or are you not really that bothered as you plan to hold the property for, let's say, 20 years plus?
Well, it's going to depend on what like for example, it very much depends on the strategy you're doing. So if you're doing like rent to service accommodation or even buying it, if you're doing buy, refurbish, refinance, then you might be planning on selling it. So we're building some house at the moment that we're planning on selling. So it very much depends on what strategy. Does it mean just general buy to let?
There's no. It's not really straightforward.
So
again,
general buy to let, I don't plan on selling.
Yeah.
I just know that they are going to go up in value
over time.
I
yeah.
don't even know what he means by the 18-year cycle.
I'm assuming like Simon talks about the 10-year cycle, so I'm assuming he's saying it's 18 years.
I think it's a lot faster than that.
History tells you that property doubles every 10
10 to 12.
10, 12 years. It's in history. This is all evident through history. So I'm assuming you mean the 18-year cycle is
It doubling in price.
doubling prices every
But what's
year.
okay? So let's say that's what he means.
Yeah.
What's the issue? Why would I need to take that into consideration?
Because obviously if you're buying to sell, you're going to have to hold on to it for a long time. But again, it depends on your strategy. What
Don't
you're doing.
sell if it doesn't go up. You buy it. You buy a property because it gives you. Listen, capital appreciation is brilliant. It's amazing. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't predict whether it's going to be 18 years, 10 years, 12 years, 5 years, 4 years. You don't know. Brexit, this, that, and the other. As long as you get to it, you want something that gives you good cash flow.
Yeah.
Get good cash flow, and then let the capital appreciation worry about itself. Now you can buy smart, and you can buy in areas like we were talking about this last week, areas that we think will be good, like Manchester and Birmingham, for example, where we think they're going to go up. But you never know. You never know whether an area is going to go up or whether it's going to stay the same. You know, some areas up north have dropped over the last 10 years.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not listening to me at all.
Sorry,
are
I'm
you?
reading more questions. I thought you were speaking to the camera.
No, I'm speaking to you as we're having a conversation. But don't
Sorry,
worry about it.
man.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll talk to myself. So you don't know. So you buy for cash flow. Capital appreciation is a bonus. That's what I would say. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. We have one here from a guy called Dennis.
Hey guys, hope you're all great.
We are, thank you. I've downloaded a HMO list. However, I didn't have the addresses of the property owners. I then went to the council in Peterborough and asked them to provide me with the addresses of the property owners from the HMO list. They denied me and said that they don't provide such information. Some people tell me they should, some people tell me they shouldn't.
What is the actual truth? Do you know that answer to that question?
Get a list of HMO addresses.
Yeah. So no, what he's done is he's gone to the Peterborough Council and asked for all the HMO addresses for the area. Legally, they have to tell you, Freedom of Information Act. So they've told him. But that doesn't always tell you who actually owns the property. It tells you who owns it,
okay.
but they won't live there. So it'll only tell you that that's the HMO and he's the registered
Got
owner.
it. Yeah. So if you want to know their home address, you've got to look that up on land registry.
Yeah, but even then it won't be on land registry.
Will it not?
No, because on land registry it'll tell you
Oh,
the
their
property
name.
address. It'll tell you their name. So the only thing I can suggest is
You just write to them and put for the attention of the owner.
write a letter to the HMO, put for the attention of the owner. 9 times out of 10 it will eventually get to him. I secured a cracking lease option by doing that, and like literally 2 months afterwards I got a
I'm
phone
not
call.
a big fan of those strategies anymore. I think that everyone's cottoned onto it and everyone's
Yeah,
doing
no,
it.
I'm with you. I'm not giving it as a strategy. The other thing is another way to try and find the actual address or the contact information for the person that owns it is, look, most people have a social media account. So if you get the name of whoever owns this HMO in Peterborough, and his name's Mike Smith. Google Mike Smith.
Unless you write
Facebook
a
Mike
really
Smith.
good letter.
Yeah.
Like Samuel's letters, to be fair, are really good.
Yeah.
And was it...
Did you see the video me and Simon done when we were at one of my HMOs in Hull? And we genuinely found upstairs. I don't know how the letters got upstairs. I think there was a load of them upstairs. I think the builder must have took them up or something. But there was a yellow letter from a guy who'd sent a lease option letter to my property, and it was an okay letter. Samuel gave it a 7 out of 10, I think. But it started off with, "Please excuse me contacting you this way," or something like that. It was, to me, that's straight away you're on the back foot.
You never want to apologise.
No, you don't apologise for anything.
You can't. No, I don't.
Man, you're just critical of everything. But I wouldn't apologise. So unless you
Can we quote him saying that? You never apologise for anything.
don't take that out of context, guys.
The point is what he means is if you're going, a lot of people, they apologise when they go on stage. First thing they do is, I'm sorry I'm late, or you don't apologise for that sort of stuff. If you hurt someone, it's very good to apologise.
So when Russell hurts my feelings every week, he never apologises. Right, okay, so anyway, how can you find the address of this guy? Look, social media, you got to do a bit of research. That's the only real way, to be honest. I don't think there's any more. I'm sure there is people out there that can help you with that, but they'll charge you for it. So I've noticed in one of the comments...
Can I ask how you'd find it on social media?
Well, it's easy, isn't it?
No.
So if you go into land registry, of course it is. If you go into land registry and you type in my property in Hull,
Yeah.
Or one of my properties,
Oh,
it'll
you
say
mean find the
I own
person,
it.
not the address?
Yeah, so it'll say I own it. So it'll say this is owned by Alistair Cunningham.
Do you know
So
what?
If you
I
jump
actually
on
think-
Facebook,
I think
type in
that
Alistair
one's better.
Cunningham.
I think that. Well, yeah, but there could be loads of Alistair Cunninghams.
Right, but then you're just looking for problems. Like, you'll find it. Like, so if you find the name, and it's Alistair Cunningham, just Google Alistair Cunningham, and you'll get an idea of their profile if they're into property or not. You'll get an idea of it.
Maybe if it was Alistair Cunningham.
If it was simple.
If it was John Smith, you're screwed.
Yeah, you are, to be honest. But yeah, so that's one tip. I don't know. Do you have any tips for finding the actual names and addresses of the actual owners and where their personal homes are?
I prefer just to get out there and do viewings and stuff.
Must admit, I do as well. So let's move on to the next one. You did get lots of comments from other people offering you advice on that, so I'm not going to read all that out, but there is some information on the comments.
Which is on the Facebook Live, which we posted in the Property Investor Samuel Leeds group.
Yeah.
Yeah, next.
Okay, Robert Charlton. Stocks or property during Brexit? You're on the Property Investors podcast. The title gives it away, my friend. I don't do stocks.
No, me. Property.
Adam Mace. This is going to be probably last question.
Yep.
Adam Mace. What do you think will happen with service accommodation in the coming years with the recession expected? What would you do to ensure a high occupancy rate at this time, and would it be wise to avoid the industry altogether? Recession looming, apparently. Maybe he's referring to the good old-fashioned Brexit. There's a lot of people feel there's going to be a recession after Brexit. I don't know, man. What do you think?
I wouldn't avoid it. I would say I'm heavily investing in service accommodation right now.
Yeah.
So
we've spoke a lot about service accommodation over the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
Yeah.
I think it's good, but you should always have a plan A and a plan B. So plan A would be service accommodation. Plan B would be, will it work as a single let property?
Yeah.
If it won't work as a single let property, then don't do it. You need plan A and plan B. So just in case things happen or in case the rules change,
which they will.
They will change. The rules are going to change. I'm telling you. It might not be this year or next year, but they will change.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but it might still be good. You don't know. But that is, to be fair, that is the best.
I think so.
Best answer. Just make sure you've got a plan B, plan C.
B. Always be prepared. So
Can
I
you
hope
let it out
that
as a single
has
let?
been helpful for you guys. Keep firing them questions in. We'll do our best to answer them every week.
Yes, and thanks ever so much for watching this week's show. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button below. And we look forward to seeing you next Friday at 4 o'clock.
See you later, guys.
See you next week.